The next interview is with Butch Springhorn.
Hi, my name's Gene Horton. Today is May 21st, 2013, and we're very fortunate. We have with us a longtime Blue Point family member, and his name is Butch Springhorn, and he's here to tell us things that he remembers and his family contributed to Blue Point years and years ago, over all those years. So hello, Butch. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And we're all set to go. So let's see, why don't we start with your earliest memories of Blue Point? Where did you live? Or where'd you go to school?
My father built a house on Nelson Avenue.
Okay.
And that's where I was originally raised until such time as we moved to Maple Street. And that was probably around 1947, 1945, Nelson Avenue, we were there, what I remember, was from 35 on. Then we moved into Maple Street and lived there until probably 1951 or 52. And my father knew Joe and Liz Saddam from the Saddam estates. Joe and Liz lived side by side on Middle Road on the Bend, and they wanted to sell the Saddam estate, but they didn't want the house ripped down. So if my father would sign a covenant or a restriction that he wouldn't rip the house down and develop the property, they would sell it to him very reasonably. As it turned out, I think he bought the Saddam estate and 21 acres for about $28,000.
Wow. And what year was that? Back in 50s?
About 52, 53. And then that's where I grew up until such time as my father gave me a piece of the property, and I'd gotten married in 1964. My father gave me a piece of the property on the south end, and I built the house where I'm living now.
Good.
I built that in 1965. Wow. So I've been living there for about probably 48, 49 years.
And that's on Boylan?
That's on Boylan.
Now, how did they ever get that name? Do you know Boylan Lane? I don't know where that name came from.
There was somebody by the name of Boylan.
There was.
But when we lived on Maple Street, we had a friend of mine come out from, a friend of my brother's, Roberto Zapata from Mexico.
Oh.
And they went down, and this is at the time that South Shore Contracting and Dredging were digging the lagoon. In other words, there was never any lagoon down there for a long time. So they were digging the lagoon, and this Mexican got this bulldozer started and didn't know how to stop it.
Oh,
went into the water.
Right in the water.
Al Brown never did find out who did that. As friendly as we were with Al Brown, South Shore Contracting and Dredging. And then the lagoon started with houses on each side.
Yeah.
With Bill Rogers, who happened to live across the street from me before he passed away, and Charlie Crowley.
Oh, yeah, I remember the name.
Charlie Crowley, and they built the houses on each side of the lagoon, and that's how the Blue Point Association, I guess, originally developed.
Now, were they mostly summer homes in the old days?
Some were,
Some were. Now I presume they're just about all year round.
Yes.
Yeah, all year round.
When they're not underwater.
Yeah, that sandy must have been tough on those homes, though.
Yeah.
That's all pretty low land there.
Actually, we've never really had any problems until recently.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's because of the new inlet off of Bayport there, because the water comes in the bay so much faster, or whatever. But Hurricane Sandy is the highest I've seen the water since I've been living.
Wow.
In that area.
Wow.
And that's the highest I've seen the water.
Wow.
I had a generator going and 6 pumps. I have a full basement. I had 6 pumps going, and I kept up with it, so I had no damage.
No damage.
But my neighbors across the street, I think 2 of them lost their oil burners from water. So.
And I know right next door to us is Springhorn.
Well, I was telling Wendy that my oldest brother Wesley, was business administrator for the Bayport-Blue Point School District.
Yeah.
And he said that he happened to be in the safety deposit box for the school district, and he noticed a deed from Springhorn to the school district, and that was the property on the north side of the school.
Oh, okay.
My grandmother gave them the property. This is before you had all the school taxes and everything.
Yeah, of course.
So she gave them, and the deed is still in the safety deposit box, evidently.
wonderful.
So. And then my grandmother, my father and mother met in Patchogue High School. My father was born in Blue Point or whatever.
Yeah.
And they met in Patchogue High School, and they snuck out to East Quogue, and they got married. Mark Crozier was the witness or whatever. And they were married for 2 years before anybody knew about it. Wow. And they lived in high school.
Good.
And then they announced their engagement, and then everybody found out that they'd already been married for 2 years. And they went to Patchogue High School, but my father originally was from Blue Point.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
My mother, whose brother married Claire Rose's sister, if you know the Rose family, Claire
Yes.
Rose. Well, Billy Rose was my uncle's sister.
Oh, wow. But it's nice to see the name Springhorn preserved. Right next door.
Right.
That's really nice. Yeah, and that was all through the laundry, wasn't it? The laundry site over there on Park Street.
Well, my grandma started taking wash in by hand.
Yeah.
And I gave Wendy some pictures of the wash wheels and everything
yes.
from the 20s.
Good.
It developed, it got bigger, and my grandfather bought a barracks from Camp Upton.
Oh, yeah, Camp Upton, sure.
Camp Upton up there, which is now William Floyd Parkway.
Yeah.
Camp Upton, and they moved it to Blue Point, and that was on the west side of the laundry.
Wow.
That was originally barracks from Camp Upton.
Wow.
And then it got larger and larger, and when I was there working, we did 25,000 shirts a week.
Wow.
You know, we had 5 shirt units going with 5 girls doing 125 shirts an hour. We became one of the largest laundries around.
I think there are other houses on Park Street that came from Camp Upton.
Yeah.
I think Barbara Sherman, do you know Barbara?
Yeah.
I think she told me that her house there, which is right near where the laundry was, that was a Camp Upton house or
Right.
building.
Like I say, I worked in a one. Also, Reed's Ice Cream Plant. You remember
I
Reed's
remember
Ice Cream
Reed,
Plant?
Sure.
In the summer, I worked at Reed's Ice Cream
You worked
Plant.
at
They had
Reed's?
Reed's, Hortons, Borden's, and Ricciardi, which was French vanilla ice cream.
Oh.
And they had 4 brands. And it was amazing working there because 4th of July, it was 90 degrees out, but it was 10 degrees inside the cooler where you were working.
Bet.
So you would come out for a break in the sun, then you would put on these big sheepskin coats and go back in and start throwing around ice cream,
Yep.
loading the ice cream trucks. So
Do you remember the Little League field that was
yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Now, did they donate that property, or where'd
Yeah.
that come from? The ice cream.
I don't think it was the ice
I
cream.
don't know. I don't know where
think-
it came from.
I don't know whether it was. I know my family was involved with the property.
They were involved
donated,
with that?
Right, yes.
That was a beautiful ball field.
Yeah.
I don't remember in the outfield with the
It
advertising.
was between Davis and
Yeah, between
Corey.
Corey and Davis, I
Right.
think.
Yes,
Yeah. Those are Blue Points, A, B, C, D streets.
Yeah.
Atlantic, Bartow, Corey, Davis.
Right.
And up there was Nicholson Field.
I remember Nicholson's.
Yeah, the Nicholsons.
And next to Bob Brown.
Yeah, right
The
next.
grocery store was Bob Brown's, and then
Yeah.
it was Nicholson's, and then it was the post office.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the Bayport High School, where Merle Johnson
Famous.
later became Troy Donahue.
Troy Donahue.
Who married Susan Plachette.
That's right, Suzanne Plachette. He might have been the most famous actor to come out of these parts, I'd say, right, Troy Donahue?
Troy Donahue, when he was in high school, said, "I'm going to become an actor." And God bless him, he went to Hollywood and did. I used to put he used to be a high jumper, and I used to put bricks in the sand.
Yeah. Didn't bother him.
No, it didn't bother him. Yeah.
Wow.
Then when I moved to Hawaii, I was working to Flower Island. When the summer was over, we were going to go to San Francisco and work. And San Francisco was so hot, so we said, let's go to Hawaii.
Going.
Right, keep going. So I moved to Hawaii in 1961, a brief episode, right?
Yeah.
And Troy Donahue was out there filming Hawaiian Eye
Really?
or whatever, and I
Yeah.
went over, kicked sand out. But
Did he remember you?
oh yeah. Turned around. I said, "Hi, Merle." Merle Johnson lived in a stucco house on Middle Road.
It's still there. The house is still there. Yeah, Maplewood, Middle Road. I think in the last movie I saw him in was The Godfather.
Yeah,
Where
probably.
he was introduced as Merle.
He's dead.
He's dead now. Yeah, he
He
died.
died, and I think he was living in somewhere in the islands in the Caribbean.
Oh, is that where he was?
When he died.
Yeah.
To
So what year did you graduate from high school over here?
Bayport.
Bayport. What year did you graduate?
53. This will be our 60th reunion this year.
Oh,
60 years.
boy, that's amazing.
And a lot of them still come to the reunion.
And how many were in your class? Would you have 40, 50? I'm just guessing. So you graduated in 53
53.
out of
Right.
So this will be your 60th reunion. Wow. That's pretty good. And what do you know about the Anchorage Inn? That always interests me. The Anchorage. Will Graham's.
Right.
What a place. Yeah.
That is a marble plaque that weighs about 400 pounds.
And don't you
300
use it
pounds.
as a table in your house?
No, it's in the closet
Oh,
behind
it's just
all the
standing
clothes.
there? Okay.
And I dragged it out to take a picture of it. My
Yeah.
son said, just scratch the floor.
Yeah, you don't take it out, you scratch the floor. Gee, that's really
I
beautiful.
dropped off a copy to Fontana.
Oh,
down
yeah.
there where the Sphinx is.
Sure, the Sphinx.
Because that's where originally where the Sphinx was.
And what is your interest in the Anchorage? Why are you so interested in that?
I wasn't. It's when Ed Bailey died.
Oh, Ed Bailey, okay.
I went and got a lot of the stuff that was in his house because they were just throwing it out.
God.
And there was a lot of molds for these racing ships, the American Cup, sailing ships. That he belonged to the New York Yacht Club, I guess. And they were just going to throw all his stuff out that was in his house, and I grabbed it all.
Good. Well, I'm glad it's been saved. That's really part of Blue Point's history.
Right.
The Anchorage Inn. And up on that property today, the only thing left, I think, is that lighthouse.
Right.
That's the only thing left of the Anchorage.
And the Sphinx is in front of Fontana.
The Sphinx has gone to Bayport.
Right.
Yeah. And it's well restored today. Now, did you know the Sphinx when it was in Blue Point?
Yeah.
You did. Now, at the base...
It was
oh, yeah, I remember that.
In a tunnel, with Tony Ferris's gas station.
Tony Ferry, and you could see it through the windows of the bay there.
Yeah, right.
And the other thing, I've never seen a picture of the Sphinx with the writing under it. She who climbs to the Sphinx's head,
Right.
a millionaire will surely wed.
Yes.
Now, do you know if that writing was here in Blue Point? Did they have that?
That was the original writing.
That was the original writing. Huh?
Right.
Wow,
I don't know if I have a picture of the original Sphinx when it was.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know it's on the Sphinx over in Bayport.
Right.
And then, the Fontanas had to put a sign there saying no climbing on the...
I noticed when last time I was there, it's starting to crack up around the head again.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But they're in the cement business, so they should be able, hopefully, to patch the crack. Yeah, I'm sure winter's tough on that thing. The old Anchorage Inn, established in 1897. I think it burned down in the 20s, maybe around 28 or something like that. Yeah. And that site today is sort of deserted. There's a gas station, but it's been closed for years. In here, there it is.
I have a hickory cane.
Yeah. This hickory cane was presented to
Solomon
Donald Gibson.
Father of Andrew
Jackson Gibson. My grandfather by Andrew Jackson.
At the Trinity.
At the christening of A.J. Gibson, born in this city.
On Broadway, next to the Trinity Church.
Next to Trinity Church, 1803. George Gibson Kelly. So that's
I have that cane too.
And Andrew Jackson's nickname was Old Hickory.
Yeah.
And so you have a hickory cane.
I have the hickory cane, right.
Isn't that amazing? And, U.S. Customs Service. The passenger was Fred Bishop. Address was Blue Point, Long Island. Nationality was English. Occupation followed water, meaning he worked the bay, I suppose, right? Employed by myself, pass issued on request of myself, and acting for myself. And there's his photograph, Thomas Rush, Surveyor of Customs.
He used to take oysters from here to New York that would be shipped to the Queen of England. Because the only oysters the Queen of England would eat were Blue Point oysters.
Blue Point oysters, yeah. Isn't that was Queen Victoria? Yeah. Yeah. Blue Point oysters, though, were famous around the world. They really were.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep. And the Queen would eat Blue Point oysters. My word. Yeah. Now, there's an old
how's this for a bunch of broads?
Wow, look at them all, huh? Now, what did they all have in common?
I don't know, it was my grandmother. I guess it was a ladies' group, but my grandmother was up there on the left.
Louisa Purdy Kelly. Now, is Louisa buried back here in the cemetery? Louisa Kelly? I know there are Kellys back there.
There's two Kellys, right.
She's on the top right, standing. So that would be her. And there's one real old lady right in the center here.
Boy, she looks like a...
Yeah. You notice none of them are like smiling and happy. They don't look like a happy crowd.
That's quite a while ago, I guess.
Well, it's great you preserved all that.
Oh, yeah, I got the certificate of marriage. This was February 11th, 1899. Wow. To whom it may concern. This is to certify that the bearer, Louisa M. Purdy, has been in our employ as general office assistant for about 3 years. We have always found her to be industrious and willing and can cheerfully recommended to anyone needing her services, capable and painstaking young lady. Wow. American Ringer Company.
The Ringer Company. Wow.
1899.
Wow. I wonder if, was that related to the Purdys in Bayport? Because Ken was here yesterday, Ken Purdy. Yeah.
All I know is I'm getting all kinds of mail and notices from Whitestone. Up in Westchester.
Yeah.
From the Purdy Foundation.
Wow.
In other words, evidently there's a whole big cemetery up there full of Purdys.
Wow.
And if you were a Purdy or a relative or relation of the Purdys,
So you stay in touch with your classmates, huh? You're high school and you're going to have that reunion?
Yeah, we're going to have a reunion.
Yeah, where's the reunion? Where are you going? Where are you meeting?
Probably the Blue.
Oh, the Blue. Oh, that's handy. Right. And do many of them still live here? At least in the area?
I know Joyce Tobin shows up.
Good.
Billy Dewey lives out in Southold.
Billy. He's in Southold, yeah.
I don't know where Ernie and Kurt, I think Ernie, one of them, Kurt's dead, but we normally get at least 10 or 12.
That's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
We still
for
have
60 years. Local. Did you know, who was the coach there? Vignato? Did you know Coach Vignato?
Joe Vignato?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's another story.
Yeah.
Joe Vignato's son, myself, and Pete Klug got out of it. We went and we were going to the beach. We needed a tent. So we went down and stole a Girl Scout tent from Camp Edie.
Camp Edie.
And we took it over and we put it up on the beach. And we had it, from Davis Park. And all of a sudden, one day we're sleeping, in the morning or something like that. All these Girl Scouts come flying over to, there's our tent!
They found it.
And we were all arrested. And,
oh, my God.
Vignato, myself, and whatever. Pete Klug, we eliminated some because he had to go service or whatever. So
yeah.
We took the blame.
Wow.
And we had to pay to have 4 men take 2 days to put it back up. We took it down in 10 minutes, and it took 4 contractors 2 days to put it back up.
At Camp Edie.
At Camp Edie. But that was the Camp Edie job, And
now, do you go out on the bay much? Do you go out there?
Well,
or do your family?
Another part of my life history.
Yeah.
We had an old bay boat built on Dane Street by Amanda Breckenbridge. And it was named Anna B. Had a 75 horsepower gray marine engine in it. And the more gas you gave it, the bow come up higher, but it wouldn't go any faster. It was one of the old bay boats. Right? And we used to go to Cherry Grove. And all of a sudden one day, somebody said, this atmosphere is not really likable to raising children.
Right, right.
So I said, where can we go? And I said, well, I know a place that's got a natural inlet or something like that we can go. So he says, all right. So my mother and father were very friendly with Al Brown. And we went in there, and he says, oh, this would make a nice family community. So he got his partners, South Shore Contracting and Dredging, which was Al Brown, Lee Corbin, Eddie Summer, and Joe Gerard, to buy the property.
Wow.
And they named it Leja Beach.
I know, Leja.
Leja.
From their name.
Lee Corbin, Eddie Summer, Joe Gerard, and Al Brown. It was named Leja Beach.
Leja.
Right.
Because so many people think you're saying Leisure Beach.
No, it's Leja.
It's
L-E-J-A.
Leja. Yes, yeah. Leja.
And then he took the property
Leja
to the
Beach.
west of what they bought,
The West, okay.
and they gave it to the town.
Right.
That's named Davis Park.
Davis. Right.
So they gave the town that property so that they get the town to hire them to dredge the channel.
Get the channel in there.
Because it was South Shore Contracting and Dredging.
Sure.
Again, we were the four partners.
Sure.
And they own all the property zoned for business. In other words, all the property on the other side, which is residential. And they own the only commercial property there. So there was Leisure Beach and Davis
Yep.
Park. And then I guess it was Hobby Miller. Was down buying a piece of property that was the end of Patchogue River, or by down on the west side of Patchogue River.
Yeah. Okay.
And he says, "Do you own any other property up there?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Yeah, I got some property over at Fire Island. It's about 3 miles west of Bayport Coast Guard Station."
Oh, okay. 3
So-
miles west.
Hobby calls up and says, "What's the property?" He says, "That's right next to Davis Park. That's right next to Leisure Beach."
Yeah.
So Hobby says, "How much you want for it?" He says, $50,000. So he bought this property all east of whatever
Yeah.
for $50,000.
And
That
what-
is now Ocean Ridge.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do they call that? So that's Ocean Ridge.
That's Ocean Ridge.
And then you have Davis Park.
Right.
And then you have Leisure Beach.
Leisure Beach, then Davis
then
Park.
Davis
Right.
Park. That's
So
very
Davis Park is
interesting.
residential going west.
That's all
Ocean Ridge is residential going east.
Yep.
So he bought that property $50,000, and
Yeah.
today each little lot's worth about 200.
Oh, I bet. How did it survive the storm?
They
I
lost
mean,
a few.
They did lose
Yeah.
a few, huh?
But they had some problems a couple of years back, so a lot of people had already
Raised-
moved their houses up and back.
Good.
Moved their houses up
Good.
and back. In the Ocean Ridge.
Yeah.
Davis Park suffered a little bit.
They did.
Yeah,
huh?
right.
Now, do you get over to the beach much? Do you go over?
Not this year. I was the chief of the Davis Park Fire Department
Oh, you
for
were, yeah.
3 years, 4 years.
Good.
Yeah.
And the casino is still, I know they built a new one, but they floated it over, I think, right? The casino?
The casino, yeah.
Yeah. That's a landmark.
Right.
Is that the highest building over there? I think it's up pretty high.
Right.
I think it is.
I forget the
Casino.
bartender's name, but
I wouldn't know
he
that.
says, when I go, I'm taking the casino with me. And sure in hell, the year he
went.
died
Yeah.
is when the casino got
It
wiped
went.
out.
Went to sea.
Gus Olivas.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah,
Oh,
Gus Olivas.
Levis.
He said, when I go, I'm taking the casino with
Yeah,
me.
leave us. So what else do you remember about Blue Point that'd be interesting to wrap it up with? Here, we have 10 minutes. Any other little tidbits about Blue Point?
I love living here.
It's a wonder. You've seen a lot of changes, though, in Blue Point.
Take a ride down the end of Blue Point Avenue. You'll
going
be
to.
amazed at the work they did down there.
Really?
I have to give the town credit.
Yeah?
Of course, get down as soon as you can. Because
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to be full of there's cars parked all over down there.
Cars.
It's going to be full of garbage, and I'm surprised that they don't have somebody to
Yeah, like a booth?
maintenance.
Maintenance.
The highway department get down there once a
Sure.
week and pick up garbage.
Sure.
Well, I didn't see any containers for garbage either. So
They should have containers, though.
Maybe they just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, could be.
Because I was down there the other day and it was all blocked off. You couldn't even go down there.
Now it's open.
And I went down there, there's cars parked all along the west side of,
Wow.
past the gates. A couple guys were out fishing off the pier, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's all, like a farmer went down there, a landscaper went down there and put in all topsoil
Yeah.
and mulch and
Good.
bushes and plants and
Good.
everything. It really looks beautiful. I have to give the town a lot of credit for that.
You know what took a beating was that wall.
Yeah.
The old 5 Mile Look wall. That's really in tatters now.
Is the pool still there? The
I
fountain?
think it's still there, but it's buried under vines,
I know. That's what I mean.
brambles.
I couldn't, you know.
It's really poison ivy.
I remember 5 Mile Look burned down.
That was 1939,
Yeah.
I think. Wow.
And then the Lynx Hotel across from Westlake, that burnt down on graduation night
Did it
one night
really?
in Blue Point. We have Blue Point School graduation. And somebody says there's a fire. We all went out. And you looked, and the whole patch over was lit up with flames. You know?
Now, you graduated from Blue Point School, right? That went up to the 8th
Right.
grade.
Right.
And what year was that you got out of Blue Point?
Probably 49. Because Bayport High School was 53.
Yeah, that'd be right.
So it's 4
49.
years. Yeah.
So, you know, when you go into Blue Point School today in the lobby, they have all the class pictures up there. Your picture must be there.
Oh, yeah.
1949. You just take the picture right on the front lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture when we were all probably in the 4th, 5th grade.
Oh.
And the same group
In the 8th
at
grade.
graduation.
Yeah, in the 8th grade.
Right. So the two pictures are right there.
Wow.
And
And that was Mr. Hawkins was principal, of course, wasn't he?
Dwayne Hawkins was principal.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
taught 8th grade.
He taught 8th grade,
Right.
yeah.
Alice Larrabee.
Mrs. Larrabee. Yeah.
Alice Larrabee taught
I
6th
think
grade.
6th grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Hazel Adams.
Hazel Adams.
I think she was either 1st or 2nd
I don't
grade.
remember. And Mrs. Howard.
Right.
Miss Howard.
And Dwayne Hawkins, Mr. Hawkins.
Yeah, Mr. Hawkins.
Everybody respected him.
Oh, yeah,
He
everyone
lived on
respected him.
you know,
He lived
Pomanaki.
on- yeah, his house is still there.
Yeah, right. He'd say,
Yeah.
I got them paddles in the boiler room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get down the stairs, and there was the cafeteria. And I'll never forget, Mrs. Cozine was the cook.
I had no.
Cozine was the cook. And you go through the door at the end of the cafeteria, and it was the boiler room. And that's where Mr. Hawkins kept his paddles.
His paddles. The Board of Education.
Oh, then, remember Doc Breyer?
Oh, I remember Doc Breyer.
Everybody said, Doc, warm your hands up before you examine me.
I know. I just remember Dr. Breyer always had a stiff neck. He could always, he used to turn that way. But
He
he
was
was
right across the street from the Catholic Church.
yeah, right. That was his
That's
home.
where we used to go roller skating.
We're at the church.
The basement of the
Oh,
church.
The basement.
They
That's
let you
right.
roller skate years
Yeah,
when we were
yeah.
in Blue Point.
Yeah,
School.
Dr. Breyer's right across the street.
Right.
And I always thought he was married to Mrs. Lester. I thought they were a
Who
couple.
lived next door? Monteith.
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 They lived
Joey
on-
Monteith became a
Yeah, he was the police.
inspector.
I think Joe is coming in one day for this.
Good.
Yeah, I think
Tell
Joe
him
is.
I was asking for him.
Yeah, oh, I will. Sure. Yeah, Joe went far in the police department. He's retired now.
Yeah.
Did you know Bill died? Bill Monteith. Billy.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Billy, his younger brother.
Is Ruby Bean coming in?
Yeah, Roop. Let's see. I don't remember, but I think he is. Oh, I don't know. I'm not really
Ruby
sure.
still lives around here, and he
Yeah, Roopy only lives right up, right
Smith Street.
Smith Street. He's not on my list, but that doesn't mean he's not coming in. No, I hope he does. Yeah.
If not, you should get in touch with him because
I know.
he's lived there all his life.
Yeah.
Him and lived on Smith Street.
I remember his mother too. Do you remember Marguerite being
Yep.
down in Glades Road?
Oh yeah, lived across the street from Harry Osterman.
Harry Osterman,
Harry
Jim
Osterman,
McCarthy.
and on the corner was my aunt who lived there, Nella Kelly.
Oh, okay. Now, is your aunt's house still there, or is that gone?
I believe it's still there.
Still
The corner
there?
house.
Okay. The only other one I knew there was Joe McCarthy on the corner.
My mother and father used to go to Florida, and I would stay at my aunt's.
Oh, that's good.
And
of course.
evidently, I was doing some assaults or something like that in Blue Point School, and they thought I was whatever, but I had pains, and they took me to. I think it was a chiropractor on Snedeker Avenue before you get to school on the left-hand side.
Okay.
I can't think of his name. Well, anyway, he went there and he patted me and everything like that. And what had happened is doing these tumbling and everything in Blue Point School, I got a kink in one of my intestines. So the food would get down to that kink and then it would have to dissolve there and whatever. And I'd be in pain, and all of a sudden the pain would go away because it would dissolve. Whatever. So we went to the chiropractor down there. And in fact, my father used to go to him all the time for his back.
Well, that was a pleasure.
This is the end of the interview for Butch Springhorn.